It's the Go Home Raw heading into back.
Roman, it must be killing you showing up to all these shows trying to find me. We all know you don't like working the small shows. So I'm gonna make it easy on you. I'm gonna be at Backlash this weekend. We will be at Backlash this weekend. Why don't you join us? And bring Jey and Seth along too. We'd love to have a little more fun with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really know what the hell just happened. We've never had our broadcast commandeered like we just did, but before I was rudely interrupted. Welcome to the Go Home Raw heading into Backlash. We're kicking it off with a big one. The new WWE Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker taking on Damian Priest. Priest, who will be facing his former friend, his former brother, Finn Balor, in a fight pit this weekend at Backlash. Balor, who cost Priest in his opportunity back at WrestleMania 3 when he took on AJ Styles for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Finn turned his back on Damian, costing him the match. Now Damian will get his hands on his former brother inside the fight pit. The only way to win is knockout or submission. No countouts, no disqualifications. Might be a long night for Finn Balor. But going back to what we saw at the beginning, this mystery man, we still don't know who this is, who's behind it. Apparently, he's not alone. We're assuming it's a he. It might not be. I don't know. It is 2025, but he issued a challenge to Roman Reigns for Backlash. He wants him to bring Jey and Seth. He's bringing some friends of his own. What does that mean? Oh no. Finn Balor's music hits. Damian Priest looking for him. And from behind, the badass sending Priest into the ropes, hits him with a spear. Goes for the cover. Only gets a 2. Breaker now waiting for Priest to get back to his feet. Gut check. Again hooks the leg. And Braun Breaker, with some help from Finn Balor, picks up the win. And now Balor's here from behind, attacking Damian Priest. And he's calling for the lowering of the cage. This is the structure that these two will meet this weekend, as Priest knocks Balor to the ground. Balor with a low blow from behind. And then sends Priest in to that steel cage. Finn Balor just adding more fuel to the fire, first with a distraction, and then with this attack from behind. Here's Roman Reigns talking to Seth Rollins backstage. Rollins, the first victim who was attacked from behind last week. Got to think they're talking about this challenge for Backlash. Up next, we've got a special attraction. KSI, who appeared in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, approached WWE management, said that match didn't really go his way. He wanted another chance to prove himself. So they gave him a match here this week on Raw. It's against Pete Dunne. Now, if you missed last week's Raw, Dunne had a match against CM Punk, and he took Punk to the limit. Almost came away with what would have been the biggest victory in his open mic universe career. Punk was able to get out barely with a win. And then after the match, tried to shake Pete's hand, and Dunn wanted nothing to do with that. And so now here this week, he gets to maybe take out some of the frustration of that loss on KSI. And I don't know that his performance is doing much better than it did in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Dunn with the cover. And Pete Dunne, not surprising, with the win, defeats KSI this week on Raw. And here is Roman again talking to Jey Uso. Jey Uso's here tonight. He was the second victim of these mystery attackers. Maybe we'll get an answer here tonight from our WWE World Champion. Up next, it's going to be Ivy Nile taking on Zelina Vega. Nile, who last week was on the losing end of a match against Jordynne Grace. Grace, who was making her in-ring WWE debut, made very quick work of the former WWE Women's Champion. That didn't sit well with Nile. Later in the week on WCW Thunder, Grace would be making her WCW in-ring debut. She is not on either brand, either roster. She will be available in the upcoming draft coming up in a few weeks. After her match where she defeated another former champion, Sonya Deville, Ivy Nile would attack her from behind with a kendo stick. And here she is this week again on Raw, looking to bounce back. So far, so good against Zelina Vega. Sends Vega into the corner. Like we said, Grace, who in her 2 matches last week, one on Raw, one on Thunder, very impressive against former champions. And so I've got to think that both WWE and WCW might look to try to draft Jordynne Grace pretty high, because I don't know that she is going to stay on the board very long. Nile with a torture rack applied, but does not get Zelina to tap out, now moving her away from the ropes. Zelina rolling out to the apron. Ivy Nile sends her down to the floor. And now getting Zelina back into the ring. Now going up top. And for some reason, hops down to the apron to pose, and Zelina Vega makes her pay. And right away, Ivy back in control. That's kind of been how this match has gone. It has been pretty much all Ivy Nile, almost all Ivy Nile. And now with a Dragon Sleeper, you can't win the match this way. And look at Zelina tapping, but it doesn't count because it's on the outside. Ivy now rolling Zelina back into the ring. And now going for the cover, hooking the leg. This is probably it. And it is Ivy Nile with the win. And something's going on here. The lights go out. And it's Jordynne Grace. Not somebody that Ivy Nile wants to be face-to-face with in the ring. Choke slam from Jordynne Grace, and Ivy Nile finding out firsthand that Payback is a bitch. Looks like we are indeed gonna hear from Roman Reigns. We saw him backstage talking to Seth Rollins, outside talking to Jey Uso. And I guess since we've seen him all over the building tonight, it's only fitting that he comes out to the ring through the crowd. We haven't seen Roman make this sort of entrance since leading up to WrestleMania. It's an entrance he made a few times over the last couple months, and before that, it has been years since we have seen Roman Reigns enter the ring this way. You can tell by the look on his face, he is all about business here tonight. No rest for the new WWE World Champion after dealing with The Rock, getting through that whole family drama at WrestleMania 3. Here it is again. It's on to the next thing. And let's be honest, we don't know that it's not The Rock or his bloodline that's behind all of this madness. Guess maybe we'll find out this weekend at Backlash. Let's hear what the Tribal Chief has to say. Look, we got a guy running around here thinking it's Halloween. Man, Halloween was like 6 months ago. So you want me and Jay and Seth to come and meet you and your masked buddies at Backlash? Sure. I'm down, Seth's down, Jay's gonna work double duty, he's down. But know this, we won't have any candy, there'll be no trick-or-treating. Me and my family are just gonna beat your ass. Believe that. Challenge accepted, and maybe this will bring us a little bit closer to finding out who's behind the mask. Welcome in, everyone, to Nitro. We've got a jam-packed show for you this week. And to kick off the night, it's the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Cody, who last week on Thunder was supposed to tag with Jey Uso and take on Gallows and Anderson. Jey never made it out to the ring. We didn't know what was going on. It turned into a handicap match. After the match, Abyss would enter the ring as well, and it would turn into a 3-on-1 beatdown. Then we found out what happened to Jey Uso. He was attacked back in the back by this mystery group that has been targeting those close to Roman Reigns. Not only have they been very active on the WWE shows, we found out last week they would show up here in WCW as well. Cody coming into Thunder last week off a very big high. WrestleMania 3, he defeated the Monster Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. But all that positivity, all that momentum would come to a screeching halt thanks to Gallows, Anderson, and Abyss. Cody says, Abyss, Gallows, Anderson, I hope you guys had fun last week. You took advantage of Jey not being able to come out for our match, and hey, good for you. But I just talked to Eric Bischoff, and he's agreed to give me a match on this weekend's Backlash show. So it'll be the three of you against me and two partners of my choosing. And while I'd love for Jey to be involved in this match, he's got his hands full at Backlash. And I don't think I'll have any trouble finding two guys that would love to get their hands on the three of you. Cody's in the market for some tag team partners. Who will they be? Our opening match is going to see Joaquin Wilde, who is already in the ring, and his opponent, the WCW Cruiserweight Champion, El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano will have his first Cruiserweight title defense this weekend at Backlash. as he defends against the former Cruiserweight Champion, Ilya Dragunov. And if you hear the crowd, kind of a mixed reaction. Some buying into the belief or the conspiracy theory that it's actually Chad Gable underneath that mask. And the other half of the crowd, they're not buying it. I don't know either way. It is kind of funny that Chad Gable would lose the WWE European Championship at WrestleMania 3. And then later in the night, El Grande Americano would be the mystery cruiserweight that was brought in to compete in that gauntlet match for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. But if you're El Grande Americano, tonight, a more pressing matter beyond your secret identity could be getting out of this match, as it has been all Joaquin Wilde here. Wilde with the cover. Only gets a 1 as El Grande Americano able to get his shoulder up. Delivers a kick to the head. And now we're going to see a little bit of offense from the Cruiserweight Champion. Like I said, he will have his first defense this weekend at Backlash. And for somebody like Ilya Dragunov, who has been a great Cruiserweight Champion, he was really the deck, the odds, greatly stacked against him at WrestleMania. Defending the Cruiserweight Championship against 7 other Cruiserweights in a gauntlet match where you don't have to be the final pinfall or submission to lose your title, and he wasn't. He was actually eliminated by El Grande Americano, and the final 2 competitors in that match were El Grande Americano and Santos Escobar. Dragunov will get his rematch this weekend at Backlash. Headbutt. El Grande Americano hooks the leg. And that will do it. Had to probably put in a little more work than he was expecting, but he does come away with the win. And out comes his challenger, his opponent, later this week at Backlash. We will find out if El Grande Americano is for real or if the Mad Dragon gets back his gold. Making her way to the ring, Lyra Valkyria. She will be going one-on-one with the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte, a former multi-time WCW Women's Champion. And Lyra, on many occasions, coming very close to becoming a champion herself. Kind of become the underdog of the women's division here in WCW. Goes for a quick cover. Only gets a 1. It's going to take a lot more than that to put the Queen away. That's one thing we could say about Lyra, though. She is tenacious and does not give up. So she has been in enough matches here now. Charlotte kicks her away, but Lyra able to move out of the way. Lyra has had a lot of high-profile opponents. And you really kind of see like she's starting to kind of put it all together. I feel like this new year that is getting ready to hit could be a big year for Lyra Valkyria. Does she stay in WCW? Does WWE see something in her? Potentially draft her over to their brand. I think that's the great thing about the draft. Sometimes you've got some talent that maybe hasn't reached their full potential, hasn't made it to the mountaintop. Sometimes a little change in scenery could be just what the doctor ordered to push them over the top. And Maybe that's the case with Lyra. Either way, I think this next year has the potential to be a huge year for Lyra. Charlotte sending Lyra into the ropes, hits a spear. And Charlotte now with the cover. And sometimes you could be in control the whole way and you make one mistake and you end up paying for it. Charlotte Flair picks up the win. Now it's time for our main event of Nitro. We've got a tag team match. The former WCW Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day. They will be taking on 2/3 of the match that we learned about at the start of the show from Cody Rhodes. Gallows and Anderson, their teammate at Backlash, will be the Monster Abyss. I'm sure Cody has been working diligently in the back tonight, trying to find himself 2 tag team partners to team with him at Backlash. Look, Gallows, Anderson, Abyss, AJ Styles. The way that they've carried themselves over these last few months, there's not going to be a shortage of guys in that locker room that don't have a bone to pick with that group of men. Woods makes the tag, in comes Kofi. But hey, at the end of the day, it has worked out well for all parties involved. AJ Styles, still the WCW World Champion. Abyss, since he made his debut back at Starrcade. Outside of WrestleMania 3, has been a force of destruction here in WCW. Anderson able to make the tag. In comes Luke Gallows. Gallows and Anderson, who returned to the open mic universe back at Starrcade as well, after failing to come to terms on a new contract back in the fall. And that's really what snowballed this new change in attitude in AJ Styles. The way that he felt his buddies, and in all honesty, the most decorated tag team in WCW in the open mic universe. Kind of felt that WCW management lowballed them with the offer that they were presented. And Gallows and Anderson did what anybody in their spot would do. You can either sign the contract that's presented, or you refuse and you walk away. They walked away and then came back at Starrcade. And at this point, it's been all about keeping that big gold belt, that WCW World title, around AJ Styles' waist. But now that we've gotten through the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, now maybe the Good Brothers can put some attention towards getting back on top of the tag team mountain. Kofi here in some trouble. Gallows goes for a cover, but Kofi able to kick out at 2. Gallows now continuing the punishment. Big club down to the back of Kofi Kingston. Now Gallows, big elbow drop from the second turnbuckle. That's a lot of weight crashing down on Kofi. And now in comes Carl Anderson. He's back in. Kofi rolls out of the way, but Anderson hits a rocket kick. Moves Kingston away from the ropes. Hooks the leg. Woods comes in, but it won't be in time. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, your winners. And as they celebrate, here comes LA Knight and R-Truth. I guess Cody found his 2 tag team partners, and they have shown up here to give the Good Brothers a little preview of what they may have in store for them this weekend at Backlash. It's time for Thunder, and this is the last WCW show before Backlash. Earlier this week on Nitro, Cody Rhodes' 2 tag team partners for Backlash were revealed, LA Knight and R-Truth. And that reveal came at the expense of Gallows and Anderson. And after that went down, Truth got to the back. He went to WCW management, demanded a match here tonight on Thunder against the 3rd man from their team, the Monster Abyss. WCW officials made that happen, and it's our opening match here tonight. Thank you for joining us this week, and right off the bat, Truth, not wasting any time. Truth, who was a part of Team WCW back at Survivor Series, a team captained by, at the time, WCW World Champion Cody Rhodes. He showed on multiple occasions that he had the American Nightmare's back. And then LA Knight, someone who's had his own long-running documented history with AJ Styles most recently at Elimination Chamber. He had a shot at AJ Styles and the WCW World Championship. And just when it looked like we were about to have a new world champion, Gallows and Anderson would get involved in the match, distracting the megastar, helping AJ remain champion. And Cody kind of thought he was done with all this. He defeated Abyss in a Monsters Ball match back at WrestleMania 3. But then last week, Gallows and Anderson decided that they wanted to have a little fun at Cody's expense as well. Truth with the cover only gets a 1. And again, these guys have done everything that they can to not only help AJ become WCW World Champion again, but they've also done everything they can to make sure that big gold belt stays around AJ Styles' waist. Truth in trouble here. Black hole slam. And this might be it. And it is Abyss with the win. And will this win give his team any added momentum heading into this weekend's 6-man tag match? Now we are going to hear from Jey Uso. Jey, who will be pulling double duty this weekend at Backlash. He has his rematch against Drew McIntyre for the WCW United States Championship. And then he'll also be involved in a 6-man tag, teaming with his cousin Roman Reigns and Seth Freakin Rollins, as they take on really a trio, a mystery team that we know absolutely nothing about. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they came from. All we know is they have a big problem with Roman Reigns, and they have made it a point to attack anybody close to the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Started with Seth Rollins, and then they showed up here in WCW and attacked Jey Uso as well. Main event, Jey Uso is now in your city. And this weekend at Backlash, I'll be working a little overtime. First, I get back my WCW United States Championship. Then, I go to war with my family as we take on those 3 masked clowns. Here comes one of Jey's opponents, Drew McIntyre. Drew says, Jay, you just don't get it, do you? When you first came to WCW, it was just about you. You went undefeated for 10 months and even took the United States Championship from me. But then you started worrying about your family over in the WWE, and what happened? You didn't qualify for Elimination Chamber. You lost the United States Championship to me at WrestleMania, and this weekend, you're going to lose again. Jay's response, yeet. Look, Drew McIntyre might be an asshole, but he does have a point. Ever since Jay started focusing on things outside of himself, he has lost everything. Up next, Dirty Dom on his way to the ring. Well, scratch that, Dom already in the ring. He says, all I keep hearing about is this great new luchador, Penta. Penta, I'm calling you out. Take me on at Backlash, and let's see how you do against the greatest luchador in the world today. We'll see what Penta has to say, but tonight, Dirty Dom going one-on-one with Joe Gacy. And here we go, Dom going right for Gacy. Kind of a bold challenge on Dom's part. Obviously, the reputation that Penta has all around the world, the fact that he's here in the open mic universe now, we'll find out what is in store for him as far as which brand he'll be on in just a few weeks when we have our yearly draft. But we've seen him perform here in WCW. We've seen him perform in WWE as well. And you got to think that management from both brands have liked what they have seen from Penta. He would be a hell of an asset for either brand. So it might not be smart for Dom, as accomplished as he may be here in the open mic universe, to call Penta out. We'll find out if Penta accepts the challenge. Swinging neck breaker from Dirty Dom, goes for the cover. It only gets a 1. Dom can't believe it. Michinoku driver now, grabs the leg. And Dirty Dom is your winner, as he picks up the win here on Thunder. Maybe we're going to see him in a few days at Backlash. We'll find out. Let's take a look at the WCW side of the Backlash card, a match we just talked about. The challenge has been issued by Dirty Dom. Will Penta accept? We've got a WrestleMania 3 rematch. Drew McIntyre defends the WCW United States Championship against the man he took it from. But is the Scottish Psychopath correct? Is Jay spreading himself too thin by trying to do too much at Backlash? When Cody Rhodes needed to find 2 tag team partners, he didn't have to look far to find 2 guys who wanted to get their hands on Gallows, Anderson, and Abyss as well. He teams with LA Knight and R-Truth as they take on AJ Styles' Goon Squad. And then we've got a triple threat match for the WCW Women's Championship. Champion Raquel Rodriguez has been the big winner in this ongoing feud between Bianca and Jade, but at Backlash, that advantage could turn into a disadvantage, as Raquel does not have to be pinned or submitted to lose her WCW Women's Championship. And with that match in mind, it is time for our main event, and we are going to have a tornado tag match. 3 teams. Bianca, her tag team partner, Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill, will be teaming with Julia. And Raquel Rodriguez, the champion, her partner tonight, Sonya Deville. And while these three ladies will be on their own come Backlash. This could give us a little bit of a preview, referee goes down, of what we can expect this weekend. And ultimately, this match at Backlash kind of works against the champion. I mean, we saw it at Starrcade. Bianca clearly on her way to becoming WCW Women's Champion. And her best friend, a woman she thought of like a sister, was in her corner to watch her back. She would enter the ring and attack Bianca out of jealousy because Bianca was getting an opportunity that she wanted. Fast forward to the Elimination Chamber. Jade Cargill wins the Women's Chamber, which opens up an opportunity for her to get a shot at Raquel and the WCW Women's Championship. And in that match, Jade was on her way to defeating Raquel when Bianca would hit the ring, hit a KOD on Jade, allowing Raquel to walk out champion again. WCW official Eric Bischoff had seen enough, so he decided that the best way to solve this mess, put all three women in a match, put the WCW Women's Championship on the line. And if nothing else, maybe this particular chapter can finally come to an end. Obviously, we don't know what to expect with the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. But as hazardous as this relationship between Bianca and Jade has been, for the sake of the women on the WCW Women's roster, it may not be a bad idea for, if either of them don't walk away with the championship this weekend, may not be a bad idea to see one of them shipped over to the WWE. Clothesline there from Sonya. Now Rhea slams Sonya to the mat. Bianca press slam, showing her strength, drops the champion to the mat. Jade now lifting Bianca up. Jaded rolls Bianca over. But Bianca able to get her right shoulder up. But she is down, everybody down but Jade at this point. Now Jade getting Raquel up. Hits another Jaded. But for some reason, Jade doesn't go for the cover. I don't understand. Why would you not? You have the champion down. Why not try to end this match? But now Rhea delivering some shots to the head of Raquel, hooks the leg. Bianca and Rhea, your winners, thanks to a mistake by Jade Cargill. Now you got to wonder, how will this mistake affect Jade heading into Backlash? Welcome into SmackDown. We are on the eve of Backlash. And kicking things off here tonight, a man that will be a part of that Backlash show, Damian Priest. He will be taking on his former brother, Finn Balor, inside the fight pit. Balor, who crashed the party earlier this week on Raw and got in some cheap shots on Priest. Damian says he's out here tonight with some bad news. He just talked to Triple H, and the fight pit match between himself and Finn Balor will not be happening at Backlash. And while Triple H does have plans for the fight pit at Backlash, it unfortunately will not be involving he and Finn. But don't worry, Finn. We still have a match at Backlash, but it's going to be an ambulance match. And know this, the only way you're leaving Backlash is in the back of that ambulance. breaking news to kick off the show. Triple H has called an audible between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Next up, we've got our opening match of the night, Chelsea Green. She will be going one-on-one with Bayley. And a hot topic of conversation over the last couple weeks, obviously the upcoming Backlash show, but also the yearly draft that comes up every year after Backlash. And here tonight, both of these ladies with an opportunity to not only show the management of their current brand, WWE, that they would be worth one of those valuable draft picks, but also possibly to show the management of the competition from WCW that they may be worth a pick to steal and bring their talents over to the other side. Bayley, a former women's champion, kind of on a little bit of a downturn here lately, would be a great draft choice for either side. And then Chelsea, who is still looking for her first championship here in the open mic universe. Both of these ladies would be a great addition to either roster. Chelsea down in the corner. Bayley makes her move, but Chelsea able to get her foot up and block. Jumping leg lariat. Chelsea hooks the leg. Only gets a 1. Now Chelsea goes into the corner. And a block from Bayley. Like we said, Bayley has kind of been in a little bit of a down cycle here. Goes for a cover. Only gets a 1 herself. And if you look back at the past year, Bayley, who held the WWE Women's Championship, goes again for a cover. So maybe for somebody like her, a change of scenery could be just what the doctor ordered to get her back on track. Chelsea now in a bad spot. Rolls out, able to get free. And now Bayley in trouble. Chelsea gets her up to her feet, but Bayley reverses. Now Bayley up on that second turnbuckle. She wants Chelsea to her feet, but Chelsea able to dodge. And this is kind of what we were talking about. Little mistakes that Bayley has been making that haven't really been the norm. And then you get in there with somebody like Chelsea Green or anybody on this women's roster, and they will find a way. And again, another jumping leg lariat goes for the cover. With those mistakes, the women on this roster will find a way to take advantage of them. Now Chelsea waiting, blocked there from Bayley. Then Bayley celebrating, and again, Chelsea able to capitalize. And it's just those little things, those little mistakes that have proven to be costly for Bayley. What are we going to have here? Unprettier. Hooks the leg. And Chelsea Green, your winner, as she takes advantage of some costly mistakes from Bayley. Up next, we've got tag team action. Two guys we have not seen since WrestleMania 3, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And we haven't heard from them, and we gotta imagine they were not too happy with how things went down with their tag team title match at WrestleMania. They were under the assumption they were going to get the Bloodline, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And at the last minute, Triple H decided to add a third team to the mix. And it would turn out to be the returning Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa, two other guys with a huge bone to pick with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. But if you're Kevin and Sami, for months they've been here. They've been dealing with all the ways that the Bloodline have been able to manipulate things to keep the tag team belts around their waists. And so finally, they thought they would get their opportunity for a fair shot at the belts that they once held, only to find another team added to the match. And while they may take a little bit of satisfaction in the fact that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa no longer tag team champions, it's not them that were able to walk out of WrestleMania WWE Tag Team Champions. It was Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. And for two guys like Kevin and Sami, they're not looking to take a moral victory. They're not looking for a participation trophy. They were going into WrestleMania to get back championships that, in all honesty, were stolen from them thanks to Tama Tonga, thanks to Tonga Loa, thanks to Jacob Fatu, and thanks to The Rock. But on that night, it would be the OG Bloodline that got to celebrate ending the reign of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Sami with the cover, and Johnny Gargano in to make the save. Now Sami tags in KO. Kevin Owens suplexing Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa slowly getting back to his feet. Stunner from Kevin Owens. And that does it. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, your winners. They run the... What's going on here? KO and Sami with the win, and they're not satisfied with that. They are out here embarrassing DIY as Sami sends Ciampa to the floor. Looks like we got a new change in attitude from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now we're going to take a look at the WWE side of the Backlash card. We found out at the start of the show, Damian Priest and Finn Balor no longer in the fight pit. They will meet in an ambulance match, and Damian Priest promises the only way Balor leaves Backlash is inside the back of that ambulance. The fight pit's going to be there. This match just signed Jordynne Grace, Ivy Nile. The only way to win is to knock out or submit your opponent. Trick Williams has his first defense of his WWE European Championship, and it's going to come against his former tag team partner, Carmelo Hayes. And then the match that we don't know much about, Team Roman Reigns, Roman, Jey, and Seth taking on this mystery team that really over the last couple weeks has been showing up on all of our programming and attacking anybody and everybody associated with Roman.
Sports Entertainment Super Team assemble. Roman Reigns, the chosen one. The guy they tried to shove down everyone's throat for years until there was nobody left. And then he became the man. Seth Freakin Rollins, the architect, the guy who has stabbed everyone in the back just to build a little bit more on the foundation of your legacy. And Jey Uso, the guy with the latest catchphrase, and someone who fans are more interested watching him go to the ring than actually wrestle in it. We're not sports entertainers. We're not here for headlines or entrances or catchy sing-alongs. They say you can't outrun your past, that the road always circles back around. And boys, That moment is here. The ghosts that you thought were gone, the ones that you thought only still existed in your dreams, they're here. And the nightmare, it's just beginning.